I think that God sometimes just, he wants me to just depend on him, and not sometimes, all the time. And, I get so comfortable and I'm like moving through life, and then things happen and I forget that there's an enemy there and he's trying to take me down. And, as I get closer to my baptism, I have been praying like very consistently, like, just prepare my heart for this. And, I want to leave it all in the water and, reveal that unbelief. Like ever since we talked, I have been like, Lord, tell me, because I want to enter that rest.
Welcome to the Deep End Podcast with Dave and Jen. Today's episode is with a new friend, Danii Peters. Come listen in to her powerful story of how God got a hold of her. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Deep End. We have a special guest today.
So special.
The one and only Danii Peters.
DP in the house?
Yeah.
DP, I love that. Do people call you that, DP?
No, but my initials are Derp, and that's just not as exciting. So
that
I don't know. But
Yeah.
I
like DP.
I feel like we should
DP 's
trend with
good.
DP.
Yeah, I like
it's
that.
so fun, but
It is fun.
don't feel obligated.
We could do that.
kidding.
My goodness, you just got here.
Yeah, you're
did.
new.
Movement insurance.
Landed on the
She's
moon.
the
Let's
newest
go.
movement employee we've had on the
word.
pod.
Yeah. We
We
usually
usually do
only,
OGs.
Yeah, OGs. But
I'm just a trailblazer. No big deal.
You totally are, actually.
fine.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
How are you enjoying it?
actually, I'm obsessed with this job. I worked yesterday, so like that's how much I love it. I want
Yesterday was Sunday.
That's the Sabbath.
not the day of rest. I was resting while I was working.
Sometimes that happens.
No, but no, I really love my job. I really love what I do. I'm really passionate about helping people, and just like my own personal mission statement is like I want to change the narrative on insurance. So I'm always just having a good time on the phone. Like I want you to be comfortable. I sell peace of mind for a living, right? So it's important to me to have that, do that, build these relationships with my LOs and make sure that they're confident in what we're doing. So if I'm working on a Sunday, it's because I care, enough to sit down and take time out of my personal time to do that.
Yeah.
And make sure everyone is happy across the board. So I love my job. I love the culture here. It makes me want to. I come in the office on Fridays, for crying out loud.
Oh, nobody else does.
Yeah,
Dave's
Dani's
here.
Yep, she's here.
So that's how much I love this place. So it's great.
Okay, wait. So tell us, how did you get to movement, and why?
Yeah.
Why movement?
So I don't know why movement. I really feel like God really yanked me and put me here. So I was at another place. I'm not going to say the name, but it was awful. When I went in for the interview, I had been promised 3 days at home because I live an hour and a half away. And so that didn't happen. And from that moment on, I just felt like, and you couldn't talk there. There was like noise machines going, so there was no talking.
You couldn't talk?
What?
No, you could not
man.
talk.
I would hate that.
It was awful.
Yeah, that would kill Jen.
And
Yeah, I could not.
It was the worst, and my mental health just.
Yeah.
And so much so that I had an underlying, sickness, health issue that I didn't know about, but I was so stressed out. It pushed me into the hospital for 3 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
Because the stress was just so much. And like, again, I love what I do. I'm passionate about it, but I just couldn't, it wasn't clicking. At that point, because I was sick, I ended up, being out of work for a while. And I just went on a trip to Mississippi.
Okay.
And somebody invited me to church, and I was like, I don't do church. I don't do God. Like, I'm not the one. And they were like, no, just come. And I'm like, no. They said, just come. And I'm like, I am not going to this church with your God. Like, you know this about me. You knew before whatever. Like, this is just not happening. They're like, just come watch me play in the band. And I was like, ugh. So I went, and I sat in this front row of this church.
In Mississippi?
In Mississippi,
Okay.
after not being in church for literally 6.5 years.
Wow.
And I was dressed all cute, and there was somebody sitting behind, 2 women actually sitting directly behind me, and I could just feel their energy. So I used to practice witchcraft, and I was really big into energy and that kind of stuff, and I could just like feel it radiating. And at this point, I start arguing with somebody I don't believe in, and I'm like, how dare you? I'm in this place and you are doing this and this is how it's going. And I'm just like going and in my head in the front row of this church where they're singing praises to God, right? And I just heard very loud and very audibly, you need to stop. Like, enough is enough. And I was like, I sat up in my seat and I was like, what just happened? And then I thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
So we leave church and we go back to my friend's house. And I was like, wasn't that weird? You know, that these people were it was weird, right? And at that point I find out, you know, the story and why that was happening. And I was even more mad. I'm like, y'all Christians are all the same. And I went home. I got in my car and I drove 8 hours home. And then for the next 6 weeks, something like that, 5 or 6 weeks, I'm feeling the same argument again with a God I don't believe in. And I'm like, please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Like that, I just keep saying that. Leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. And I just feel like this tug at my heart. And I can't explain it because I don't believe in God, right? So finally I go to sleep one night and I have a dream and I love Harry Potter.
Me too.
Okay, so
Yeah, we
you
love
know
that.
whenever him
we
and
get down with that in my
good,
house.
yeah.
so
good.
love me some HP. So I
DP.
HP.
Wow.
Look, listen.
Okay.
I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules.
Keep going.
So anyway.
So Harry Potter.
Yes, so Harry Potter. So you know in the scene in the movie where him and Dumbledore are talking and it's the big white and they're sitting on the white bench? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, my
So
gosh,
it's
yeah.
very similar. I'm sitting there with a man, I'm assuming is God. And I'm
In
like,
your dream.
in my dream.
Yeah.
And I look at him and I'm like, what do you want? And he's just like, in the most gentle, powerful voice I've heard, he said, start in the book of James. So I'm like, I'm very stubborn. So the next morning I wake up and I'm like, what is this about? I'm not flipping. I grab my phone, download the Bible app, of course, and I start reading the book of James. And I don't know what I was supposed to get out of it, but what I got out of it was ask and I will give. And I said, fine. The next night, because I felt like that's when you were supposed to pray, was nighttime. I said, I need a job. You want me? I need a job. And the next day, a girl named Kristen, I'm shouting you out, girl, Van Auken, she
Got the last name. And
got the last name because Kristen is, I don't know why. Anyway, God used her through another man that I knew. We got connected. And I talked to her. It was a Friday. I talked to her like at 1 o'clock. She's like, we talked for 45-ish minutes. She's like, you'd be great. And I'm like, okay. Doesn't say anything that this job is faith-based. Nothing along the lines of any of it. So I'm like,
Wow.
cool. Like, all right. Like maybe there's something to this. So I'm like, okay, God. And then Riley calls me later on that afternoon, and she's like, do you want to come in Monday for an interview? And I'm like, sure. This is great, right? Come in for the interview and I'm sweating profusely, which is it was I don't know. It was
You were
it was a whole
nervous?
thing. It's like a recurring theme.
Oh.
Dave knows.
Yeah, she does.
And in the beginning of stages of this, I'm just dripping sweat. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna know. Like, I don't know. And I'm very confident in myself and my abilities. So I thought that was fun and interesting. So anyway, she's like, yeah, you're great. You know, when can you start? And I'm like, ASAP. She's like, well, let me talk to, the sales manager, blah, blah, blah. I get a call the next day. They offered me the position, and I was like, yes, like, let's do this. Great. A couple of weeks, I started September 3rd, and I come in and I'm sitting in orientation and I'm like, okay, this is cool, this is fine. And then Casey's big old smiley face comes on and he's like, welcome to Movement. Our mission here is da 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 da. And I'm like,
You're like, what?
well, I literally sat back in my seat and I was like, really? I looked up and I said, really? This is where you put me? And then the pieces kind of started falling into place for me. So I've got this job now and it's faith-based And I'm just like, okay. And then this was a Tuesday after when I got accepted the job. So at that point, I took the opportunity to raise the stakes a little bit. And my daughter and I had been in a tiff because she's 16. Well, she was 14 at the time. For a year and 7 months, she had not spoken to me, like angry as all get out. She was upset with me because I was doing mom things, and she took the opportunity
and
she's a teenage girl, 16 and or 14 at the time, so she's 16 now. So I said, fine, I want my daughter. Thursday, Sunday we were eating ice cream together.
Okay.
And I was like, what else can I ask for? I'm like, okay, God.
So she talked to you, you mean?
Yeah, like I texted her
No
Thursday,
way.
and she'd never respond, ever. I was actually blocked. So, and I had been trying to text her.
But she still lives in your house.
No.
Oh, she doesn't.
She
okay.
went and lived with her dad. Like, that's how mad she was.
Gosh.
So, yeah, and he very much encouraged the distance. So
sure,
I didn't have anybody in my corner saying, hey, you should, he was just like, yeah. So I texted her and just said, hey, baby. And I wasn't blocked magically all of a sudden. And we just started texting like nothing happened. It was the weirdest thing, because normally I would get cussed out. I texted on her birthday and I got cussed out. It was just bad, So we were eating ice cream on Sunday. And that's when I started my sobriety journey. Because I'm like, okay, well, it kind of happened that way. I started praying because I felt like God was just doing something, and I didn't know what, but I was like, okay, there's tangible things here. And I heard him, and I had a dream about him, so he must be real. And so I started praying about my lustful spirit. Was the very first thing I started praying about. And as I was praying about that, he's like, hey, what about this over here, which was my addiction? And I was like, nah, we're good. This is what I'm praying about. This is what I need help with. This. And he's like, no. Let's talk about this. So I got so mad. I went outside.
I was about to say, this sounds like your daughter.
Yes. Yes. So I got so mad.
Yeah.
I went out and I did my DOC, my drug of choice, like the whole thing, and nothing happened. Like there was no high, there was no anything. And I was like, mind you, I'm still very new to this, so lots of cuss words came out of my mouth in that moment because I was angry. And I'm like, this is not what I wanted to do. And then I'm mad because I'm like, this is not the path I want to walk. Like, I didn't choose this life for me. So then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to start changing all these things, and I'm going to have to give up this and do this. And it actually ended up just coming very naturally to want to give those things up. And again, like, even if it wasn't, like, nothing was happening, even if I was doing something, like partaking. So I felt like God was just, like, very forceful with me, to say the least. And here we are, movement has, and then I met this guy.
We had a great first conversation.
He told me I had scary demons on me.
Wow.
Not like that, but
She was also sweating profusely again.
yes.
Again,
I was like,
really?
yeah, all right, what's going on over here?
Yeah, because I wanted to join a small group, right? Because
Yes,
Casey's
yeah.
talking, and I'm
Mentor
like,
group.
yes. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should do that. Maybe
Yeah.
I need like some community, because I was losing all of my friends left and
Sure.
right, because obviously my life is different. Sorry, that's probably going to be.
You're making
fine.
different decisions now, so
Yes.
it changes everything.
It changed
Yeah.
everything. So I get an email from this guy. Hey,
Oh, no,
can
you emailed me.
Did I?
Yeah. I remember seeing Danii Peters come through. It said, hey, I want to get connected here at Movement. And
Yes.
I was supposed to talk to you. I said, all right, great, sure, let's hang
11
out.
o'clock in the courtyard.
Yeah, for sure.
So he
Yeah.
said, do you have time? I was like,
Yeah.
sure. Sure.
Yeah.
So we go outside and we're talking, And I don't know why, like, there is no piece of me that ever just wants to say, hi, my name is Danii Peters, and let me tell you my whole life story, ever.
Really?
And that happened.
Yeah,
and
she just went for it.
And then I'm like apologizing. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I'm telling you this. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And
It was fine. I was like, no problem. We're just connecting.
but I don't know this guy. I don't know like the Borelli gifts that he has. He's just a guy I work with. So it was interesting. And then he starts sharing a little bit about, he's like, so I don't typically do this the first time I meet anybody,
No,
but
definitely not.
and then so I got to meet Jen that day because she just happened to be in the parking lot, and he's like, hey, we're gonna pray for this girl. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, you came over that Friday night then.
Yes, I
Yeah,
did.
That's great.
Also was sweating profusely too that day, and
Wow.
then I think
You
when
got like the full washing like right away,
I did, and I'm ready to like fully be washed.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh my gosh, we got to get to that too.
Yeah, we got
So,
plenty of time.
So
it's gonna
much.
be great. It's gonna be fantastic.
It is.
So yeah, I go over there, and I think when it fully clicked was when Dave was praying over me.
I was going to say, how did you feel? Had anybody ever done anything like that for you before? Like, what was that experience
So
like?
my mom's name is Gloria, which is how I'll refer to her the rest of this conversation when she comes up. And we
Okay.
were every single religion under the sun growing up. So there was times where there was evangelism, like evangelists coming in, and we'd have revival, and it was crazy. And one time, there was a man. He was like, sorry, this is not funny because I believe in the gifts, but he's like just touching people and they're
Yeah.
like falling out and speaking in tongues. And so I wasn't delivered from anything, but I remember, and this came to me this morning actually while I was driving in. He said, I see that you're gonna one day like witness to thousands of people. And
How old were you?
I was like 10 or 11.
Wow.
And I was a kid. And I just was like, what a crock, because I didn't really like church even as a kid. Like, it just wasn't my vibe ever. Mom never took it seriously. Like, when something would happen, like Gloria, it would upset her, we'd just go to the next religion. So I was like, this is not serious. And then, as I got older, things started happening to me within the church that I was just like, this is awful. Like, I don't ever want to be lumped in with these people. As soon as I can leave, I'm going to leave. And that's what I did. As soon as I turned 18, I jetted. But that came back to me on my way to work this morning. And I was like, maybe that guy knew a little bit. I don't know how many people this is going to reach, but so
God can speak through people, even if they're not perfect and doing
He spoke
all the
to a
right
donkey's
things.
ass.
Okay.
And it's in the Bible.
Yeah.
You know?
Just casually
All right.
saying.
I mean, it's in the Bible. 100%. Like
It's
I
not
know.
donkey and ass the same thing.
Yeah.
But like little. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
So he just spoke to an ass.
Oh my God. And maybe a similar situation in this situation also.
No, this man actually, I would affirm this man and say, yeah, I agree. I think you are going to witness to thousands of people. I think for sure.
Yeah.
I would say that it's probably not this, by the way, but
You never know.
I was
never
like,
know.
is this thousands?
you
of
never
people?
know.
We don't
No, but
No.
I do affirm that word and say, man, I think the Lord's got mighty plans for you to do that.
Cool.
Yeah, because I think your story's going to reach a lot of people.
I love it.
Listen,
I
I was
agree.
voted class clown, so you are with a real
Okay.
comedian here.
I
Just
like
in-
comedians.
in your presence.
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
that.
Well, Danii, so you got to
Yeah.
movement in a wild way.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
But before movement, there's a lot to you.
Yes.
I think if people, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm honestly trying to figure out which way to go with your story
I
because your
know.
story is so vast, I guess you'd say. But one thing I think keeps coming to me is like if you were to kind of pinpoint one of the hardest things that you've had to go through in your life now, what has that been for you?
Like as an adult,
I just think overall, I think
In
there's so many things
general,
we could talk about
yeah.
with your story that I'm like, I'd rather just kind of put it in your ballpark and say,
Yeah.
from the things that you've kind of experienced in this world from, just call it what it is. I mean, from sex trafficking to other things like that. What's been some of the tougher things you've had to battle and come through and, just endure in this life?
So actually, I'm glad that you opened it up because I've been praying about this because I was wondering which direction y'all are going to go. And
We never know.
We don't know.
And I wanted, my story is my story, but there's so much more to that. And I want to make sure that, what I'm saying, yes, it's heard, but there's redemption and there's grace on the other side of it. And I want to make sure that, Jesus is the one shining through here. So I want to talk about Gloria.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that was the hardest thing for me. My mother, obviously, as I mentioned, her name is Gloria, and she, when I was 2 months old, I don't know if it was because of what my father did to her or what the circumstances were, but she targeted me and she made sure that I had the most absolute worst life in the world. And so, and I'll get into that in just a second, but the hardest thing I had to do was forgive her. And I think that there's beauty in that because I could easily have every excuse in the world to just be content with the anger, but that's not how God created me, and that's not His purpose for us, is to not have anger or bitterness. And in the last, 10 or 11 weeks, however long it's been, that's been the greatest work that's happened is I've seen Gloria in this new light, and I hurt for her, and as I'm healing, I feel like I'm healing parts of her that she never got to heal. My mom also came from a very toxic life. Her mother was super abusive, and so my mom came into this world chaotic, and unfortunately, she left this world chaotic. So she never had peace, and to me, to now have peace at 37 years old, something I've never experienced, I'm like, dang, so that makes me hurt for her as a human and as a person, not as my mother, but just as a person. So, yes, when I was 2 months old, I was sold, and I don't even know if I was sold. I was dropped off at these people's house. And from a very young age, I remember lots of things I probably shouldn't remember. Not to get into a lot of detail, but my very first childhood memory, I'm 3 years old, at a birthday party. I get picked off a trampoline, and the next thing I know, I'm on the side of a house doing things I shouldn't be doing at 3 years old with a grown man. And nobody cared. There's adults everywhere, and not one person cared. And then when I was 4, Gloria kidnaps me back, right? Like, I don't know her from Adam. And she picks me up one day to go to Chuck E. Cheese, which obviously I'm a child, so I'm excited about. And I remember just being told, hey, you're going to go to Chuck E. Cheese with this nice lady. And I had picked out these overalls. This is important to the story. These overalls, and I'm Hispanic. I'm from San Antonio. So lots of gangs, and the family that I lived in was, they were part of the Bloods. So the overalls I had red bandana, little imprints on the cuffs of the pants and on the pocket, and I had a red shirt on and white shoes, red socks, and a red bow in my hair. I looked so fire. The fit was
adorable.
I was the cutest kid. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
We'll have to throw some pictures up somewhere.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, so she picks me up and we get in the car. And I remember very distinctly sitting in the back of this car. My little brother is over here, and my big sister, she's 8 years older than me, is up here, and then my mom. And before we even leave, she turns around and she looks at me and she says, my name in Spanish, she said, do you know who I am? And I don't know why, how, when. I said, yeah, you're my mother. And she goes, who told you? And she was like upset. I said, I don't know, I just know. And then nothing else was said. We go to Chuck E. Cheese, and then we go to the Dollar General, and she buys me off-brand crayons, because I remember thinking, like, these don't color. And then that was the last nicest thing she ever did. We got to her house. The clothes I was wearing that I so carefully picked out. Sorry. She made me, along with my sister, go burn them. And I think in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And we get back inside, and I could hear her screaming at whoever was on the phone. I'm guessing it was the people. I'm just going to refer to them as the people. And she's like, you're never going to see her again. And in my little 4-year-old mind, I'm like, what? Like, what is happening? I didn't understand. And my sister is trying to, like, console me. And I'm just with a bunch of strangers at this point. Like, I'm in a strange place, in a strange home with a mean lady. And I think the sexual abuse was so normal for me. That wasn't scary anymore. But what was scary was a big yelling lady in my face. So then I went from one set of horrors to another set of horrors, and then nothing really changed. So she, like, I hate my hands because they're exactly like hers. And then you've got, like, scars all in here that are her fingernails all over my hands. So every time I look at them, I see her, like what she's done to me. And then I see the scars of what she's done to me. And my body's got covered in scars, the back of my head. I mean, my body is a reminder of what I've been through. Like, you can't just grow up and go to therapy and be done, right? I see it every single day. And then I see her hands, and then my sisters are like, you have mom's hands. Oh my gosh, I love looking at your hands. And I'm like, you know? So it's just this constant reminder of Gloria, 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 Gloria. And then I look like her. And
Were your sisters with your mom, or were you all, like, she gave up all you guys?
well, my oldest sister, who I don't really have a relationship with, and I'm sure she's going to listen to this and have some opinion, and I don't really care, but she left when she was like 7. And went and lived with her dad and her stepmom. So she grew up in this wonderful life. And she has, like, this complex that she's not a victim. And it bothers me so much. And then I have another sister named Letty, whom I love her so much. She left when she was, I don't know, 14 maybe, and she's 8 years older than me. And she just ran away. And then so it was just me and my brother. And my other sisters, my oldest sister obviously never experienced the abuse to the extent. My middle sister, she did a little bit, but I got it the worst.
Why do you think that's the case?
I think that my father, my biological father, so we all have different dads. My mom's been married and divorced 7 times. My 2 older sisters share a father. I have my own dad, and my little brother has a dad. And then I also have 2 other siblings from my biological father. My sister from my biological father, I'm just going to call her Jay, she's 4.5 months younger than I am. So my dad got his wife pregnant and my mom pregnant at the same time. And when my mom, told him that she was pregnant, he's like, okay, like, I'll help support her, but I'm going to go back to my wife because she's also pregnant. I've heard that they met in a very unique way. Not a brothel, so to speak, but a party of sorts. So to me, when I found that out, I laughed because I'm like, of course my life started out chaotic.
Do you
And
have any contact or anything with your dad?
oh, he's dead.
Okay.
So, but I never got to meet him or anything like that. But my sister Jay, she's told me, about him and stuff like that. So, I apparently have his personality and just wit and those types of things, which is great. My mom was funny, but she wasn't like funny. She's probably the funniest when she was on her deathbed, and like she had us laughing.
No way.
And I'll get into that. The last 2 weeks of her life were probably the best. Like, and that's how I try to view her in those last 2 weeks, because they were so special to me. But anyway, so what was I talking about?
We were asking about your sisters, but I did.
Oh,
have a
yeah.
question. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
go for it.
No, go ahead.
I'm lost.
I was going to ask you, the question that keeps popping in my head is, why now? Why did God choose to say, hey, Danii? Why now?
I don't know, and I would love to know why. I would love to say, hi, I was just trucking right along,
Right.
and you decide, like, I don't know, but I am so thankful and grateful that he chose me and that he came and he got me out of my life, because I was content living in the dark. I think that to me it made sense because of how my whole life has been. So I'm just like, okay, this is where we're at. This is what we do. This is just, my life is set to be miserable. I'm going to be just like my mom. I'm never going to have peace. I'm never going to, nothing. I'm just going to be Gloria Jr. And I was just accepted my fate at that point. And, I tried so hard so many times on my own to get clean or to live a right life or to do it the way I thought. Like, I wasn't a great person, but I wasn't a bad person. Like, I was and I'm still very blunt, but like, I'm not going to go out of my way to like say hi to you if I don't like you. Like, I would just be a straight up, not a nice person.
I can see that.
And I just didn't care,
Yeah.
Like, I've gone to jail twice because people mess with my children. I will put you in the ground. And I'm a very much, I guess because I never had someone protect me,
Yeah.
I'm very like aggressive. So that's been a fun thing to work on, and like just kind of tap into the softer side of myself is interesting, to say the least. To know that I have a softer side, actually.
Yeah. So I mean, how does one go about even like think about how to be a good mother when you go through an experience like you had?
Oh gosh, you just do everything the exact opposite. Like I have failed obviously many times, but like I look at my daughter, Colby is her name, and she was angry at me for a year and 7 months. But she also knew that when she was done being angry, she can
would
come
be there.
back to me. My kids and I talk about all kinds of stuff. So much so, sometimes I'm like, ugh, I don't want to know. But to me, it's the most beautiful thing, because I would have never in a million years told my mom half of the things that they tell me. And it's great. My son, he's struggling with his belief right now, but the fact that we can have these conversations, he's grown up in church his whole life. He's gone to a Christian school his whole life. His grandparents are like elders at a church and planted a Camp Marywood and did all these things. And he struggles with his faith, but he can sit here and have conversations and say those things. And my kids know, like, I'm going to have your back. We're going to walk through this together. And like, that's what it's about for me. Yes, I'll mess up. Yes, I'm going to do things wrong or whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, like, I have one that's about to graduate early. She got a 4 point something. Like,
You're killing it.
cycles are being broken, and then
100%,
with
yeah.
their kids, even more stuff is going to be broken. So all you can do is your best, and then like not make excuses. Gloria's dead. Like, there is no reason for me to carry that into like their life or my life or any of that stuff. And, the best thing she ever did was pass away, honestly. Like, I was able to, I relapsed hard after her death, but like I was able to get clean and work on things and, just heal and see her in a different light. And I think that's wonderful,
I would love to hear more about how you got to a place of being able to forgive her.
Yes, because that's really what I want to focus
Yeah.
on. I think that when I was looking at my life and how at peace I felt, you know, I don't really have a stepdad who's been fantastic. So if he listens to this, I'm not discounting you, but like I've never really had like a father. And when I was going through this process, and I feel like God was really taking care of me, and He was like satisfying my needs as I was bringing them to His feet, whether it was monetary, like the most insane things were happening in my personal life. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I could not see through the mountain. And He was just there, like every step of the way. And
It
then
was taking care of you like a father
Yes.
would take care of you. Like
Exactly.
that's one of the things that I thought of when you were sharing like the things, and like it was like miracles I feel like he was doing for you. Like answers to prayer that aren't always answered in the way that we want them to. But I love that I feel like he was just like, I'm your father, I'm gonna take care of you because you asked me to, and you gave him an opportunity to, which that's what he was waiting for.
I think that's what
Yeah.
it was, and like, and that's kind of where I was going with
Yeah.
it. You know, I have this like amazing father, and I was literally dancing with the devil. Like, I would renounce God at like God. You know, I was doing things. I'm like, you know, driving the bus to hell. I've got a seven, like my own layer there. I was a freaking succubus for Halloween one year. Like, I was in it. And for him to come to me the way that he did, and to meet me where I was, and to just say, you are incredibly special. I was like, all right, what she's done is not any worse than what I've done. And she's not here to forgive me, and she didn't have the same opportunities that I did. And, you know, my mom was just a hurt little girl doing her best. And she didn't get to grow up and live her life and go to therapy and do all these things. She just was doing the best that she could with what she could and had. And unfortunately, I got the short end of that stick. But I don't think it's all bad. I think that it really has shaped me into who I am. I hate when people are like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I'm not sorry, you know? This is where the I'm not special comes in. You know, everybody goes through stuff. Everybody has a story. It's just a matter of what you do with it. How do you use it to propel yourself to the next level? And you can't feel sorry for yourself. You know, yes, things happened. Wah, let's move on. And now I'm just trying to be able to say, hey, Mom, like, it's okay. Like, I understand. And I forgive you. And, you know, those last 2 weeks with her were healing for me. Not initially, because obviously I relapsed really hard. But in retrospect, it helped me get to the point where I could forgive her, because I knew that I saw her capacity to be a mom. You know, she held me in her lap one day and just played with my hair, and we talked. And like, she's never done that. And you know, I got to be in her room, which I was never allowed in her bedroom. And, you know, she told me she was proud of me, and she told me she loved me. And I was one of her medical power of attorneys, which was special to me because I have 2 older sisters. So, and I was the one doing the most intimate things with my mom, like taking her to the bathroom and changing her and cleaning her up. And to me, like, my mom is so private, like extremely private, to where we didn't even know she was sick until the last 2 weeks of her life. And she was sick for 3 years. And she just, you know, sorry. There was this lady that came, and my mom, in my culture, I'm Hispanic, as I mentioned, you know, you don't want to have any bad blood with anybody before they pass away. So she came, and she was going to make amends with my mom. And my mom was like, my deathbed is not the time nor the place. You can leave. And I was like, And that's just how she was. She had no cares to give. She had no bothers in the world. She just did everything her own way. And actually, I went and met with my mentor, pastor, and I didn't believe in God at the time that my mom was sick. But she had this Psalm 23 written down, and
Your mom had it written down?
yeah, and she was reading it every day in her bed. And then
Wow.
she had said, like, when I can't read this, will you read these for me? And I was like, he's not going to hear me. Like, I don't. But I honored her wish, and I kept reading this Psalm 23. And then there was another one that had, a bunch of little scriptures. I have to find it. But it was like, I don't remember, something about Elijah going up and in something of fire. I don't remember. But so he's praying over me the other night, and he starts quoting, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death," like in the prayer. And I was like, I know that. I know that. I know that. So I get home and I start looking through stuff, and I find this scripture. And then yesterday, I was like, huh. So then yesterday, I pulled up my Bible app, and, I have it on my home screen, and it's the same, even though I
Verse?
walked through the darkest valley. So I'm like, maybe God, all those years ago, it'll be 5 years in January, was trying to tell me something, even then. Even then, he was speaking to me. And I'm starting to put all these pieces together now in my life, and I'm like, I got clean the first time from a drug dealer. So, like, I look back on my life, and I'm like, like, you were there, dude. Like, you were that guy, And so I'm just at this point in my life where I'm like, Lord, fill me up, but, like, leave me hungry, And if, forgiving my mom was such a big burden off of me, because I feel like now, like, he can truly fill me up. And, I'm hungry for more. I want more. I want to be more like Jesus. I want people to look at me and be like, God, that girl loves Jesus. Like, Jesus loves her. And they just see him shining through me. But I could not do that with such hate and bitterness and anger in my heart towards the woman that brought me into this earth. And, God used her as a vessel, and I feel like there's still something there that I'm learning from her. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I don't think that Gloria's purpose was just to be an evil woman. I feel like there's more to it. I feel like there's more to her. And I'm just trying to give her a voice now, in the best way that I can, and honor her the best way that I can. And, I think it's just trying to be everything that she wanted to be, but she couldn't, and that's just where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm curious. So, you've experienced kind of the tougher side of people. Even at a super early age, when you're 3 years old, you mentioned kind of just, seeing of, the first thing you remembered. Like, how does your view towards people now, after walking through life and experiencing some things from people, like kind of just, some horrible things? I mean, like,
Yeah.
It sounds like, you've experienced kind of the worst side of most people you're growing up.
Yeah.
So how does that, like, affect your view of just walking around? Like, because you probably, to me, it sounds like you knew a lot of people's secrets
Yeah.
that only nobody else knew except for them, maybe you type of thing. Like how does that help you when it comes to just, like, engaging and talking to just normal people?
So, funny story. I, surprise, surprise, grew up to be an escort. And it's just what I knew, and I was cute, and, I was like, if people are going to sexualize me, I'm going to make $1 off of it. And so I got to know actually a different side of people in that line of work, because it wasn't like you were like, all right, guys are gross and this and that, and then you start talking to people, and honestly, the highest percentage of clients that I booked, it was called the girlfriend experience, and they just want to talk, and they just want somebody to care about them. And you have this misconception of like men just want the physical aspect, and that's what I grew up thinking, right? And then I got this other view of men just want to be loved and cared for in the same way that women want to be loved and cared for. So I think my shift slowly started there, not so much in the church, but with people. I was like, okay, there's a deeper whatever to humans.
Yeah.
And I knew that about myself too, because I'm not this hard, I come off like that. I come off as very tough and on all these things, but I was very cynical and I was extremely independent and I didn't trust anybody. Even up until you prayed all that off of me. But I started to see that there's different sides to people. And then that's a whole other story that I'm not going to veer off into. So then, I met my ex-husband, and we were together for almost a decade, So we have a son together, my baby. And I got to know a different side of him, right? So he grew up in the church, and he grew up with these wonderful parents, and he went to private school, and then I saw that he just struggled so much with things. And I was like, okay, here's another side of people, right? So you've got this side that you think where people are evil, but really they're just hurting. And then you've got this side where you think people are really good, but really they're evil. And then I'm like, and I couldn't make sense of it, right? I was like, I'd rather hang out with these bad people over here because they're not as bad, but these good people are actually awful because they're trying to make you. So then I started having this conflicting thing, right? And then I got divorced, and my small group that I had poured so much of my time into, they just shut me down because I chose not to share what happened in my marriage. I feel like my son has to grow up with our last name, and I didn't feel like it was important to carry that weight around. It wasn't fair to him, and it's nobody's business, honestly. So I just took the brunt because I'm the black sheep. I come from this and that, and people just assumed I was the one that did something, and that's when I completely just turned from God, and that was the last time I stepped foot in church up until I was in Oxford, Mississippi, of all places. Yeah. And then I was angry. I was just angry across the board at everybody. Yeah. And then there's a point to this, I promise. Yeah. So I'm angry, and I'm like, screw everyone. I'm just going to live in a little bubble. The good people aren't good, and the bad people are bad, but they're good. I'm like, this is just really confusing. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, I don't have time. I got enough in my own head, going on. And then I land here, and when I sat back and I was like, oh my gosh, this is where you put me type of thing, I got scared because I'm like, now I'm going to be working with the good people, and it's going to be bad.
The good, bad people.
The good, bad people. And I was scared. I was genuinely like,
so much truth in that, though.
Yeah,
God, what did you do? Are you really trying to push me away? Are you really doing this? And I was genuinely scared to be at Movement in that moment because I'm like, what am I gonna find? Oh my gosh. And then I meet this
crazy people.
Yeah. I meet this guy. And I go to his house, and the dude starts praying off.
What am I? Am I the good, bad, good? What am I?
You're a good. Wait, cut that out. No, you're like a genuinely good, and that's where I'm going with this. Is I'm like, okay, maybe he's a little strange, Because he was.
I'm definitely strange. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But I just remember we're sitting at this table outside in the courtyard, and he's like telling me like, "Hey, there's some things I see, and like I
Yeah.
want to pray off of you." And it's not the first time I've heard stuff like that, obviously, because Gloria and her crazy, musical
Revivals.
chairs
Yeah.
of religion. So I was like, all right, and then I was like, oh my gosh, like, are they scary? Like, do I have like, because in my
She did ask
head,
that. She did ask that.
I'm like, I
She
really
said, "Are my demons scary?" I was like, "Wow, I mean, if you've got Christ, ain't nothing, but
Yeah.
they're there."
Well, like you think about like in the Bible, sometimes I'm like chuckling because people like say they'll see an angel and then they were frightened. I'm like, is it like one of those biblically accurate angels with
Sure.
all the eyes
Right,
and the
it
wings
probably would
and
be
like
scary.
the big round
Yeah.
ball? So I'm like, are you seeing like them like coming out of me and like hanging on them like gargoyles? So that's what I'm thinking in my head. Like that's what you can see,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
no.
are they are they just like hanging on me?
Get them off.
So so we go to his house, and this is kind of where the shift in my perspective on people start happening. And he's praying these things off of me, and I have this list on my mirror still. And he's saying things that he should not know.
Is the Lord? Let's just make
Yeah.
that clear.
Well, right, obviously
Wasn't
it's
me.
the Lord,
Yeah,
but
it's
I
Jesus.
don't know this
In
in
that
that
moment,
moment.
yeah.
I'm like, this guy like did research on me, like what is happening? How
He
did he
Googled
know?
you.
Yeah, I was like, he looked at my IMDb.
I'm not the- I'm
No,
not-
I was just kidding.
I don't know what that is.
It's like,
one?
no.
It's like what famous people
famous people have it, and it like lists all their
tells all the
movies.
things.
Yeah. Clearly, I'm good at this research thing.
Yeah, you're
No,
not.
but that's when it started clicking to me that it's God, because I'm like, he knows things that were spoken over to me when I was just 2 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
And he saw, and he was like, God's just revealing, like boom, 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 and I'm sitting here sweating, pacing.
Oh yeah, you were sweating like a madman.
I lost like 10 pounds in that session, I'm sure.
That's fantastic.
No, but yeah, I mean, he's just, and I could feel myself like, I think like just can breathe easier, like I wasn't like having trouble breathing, but I did feel like my chest was really heavy all the time. So as he's praying and praying, I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? So, I'm like pacing, and I'm like sitting and standing and just doing all these weird things because I was like,
true.
what is happening? But he gets to this part, and he starts praying like cynicism off of me, and he starts praying independence off of me. He starts praying like all these things, and I'm like, and since then, I've not been as cynical. Normally, I'm like, what's your
I
intent?
don't know you.
Yeah, what's going on there? I have been, but I feel like it's more. Like, I think it's just me being more sensitive to the spirit. Like if I'm like, I don't know, something, but it's like, it's not the way, like it's not every single person. I
Yeah.
can just, it's just a vibe I get. Lord works with vibes with me. So
I love a good vibe.
yeah, he's like, the vibe
Oh
is
my
off,
God.
Danii. Let's shift. So anyway,
But isn't that interesting? Just the like dynamic of people. There's always, whether you see somebody as good, bad, whatever. There's so much depth to human beings, and man, like that's my thing. Is like, man, I'll always want to like have the opportunity to know the person, not just what we see, because there's so much depth to human beings, and what I kind of get taken back on is that God sees all of it.
yeah,
He sees every aspect of it.
Yeah.
And just to know that he still has patience for us
Sure.
is incredible.
I'm so scared to pray for patience because I'm like, what are you
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
put me
That's
Yeah.
a tough one. But I mean, I think about that. Just like
Yeah.
God's patience for us is just incredible, because the depth at which the secrets we hold, the places we'll stoop to,
Yeah.
and also the fronts we try to put on.
Oh Lord.
And the Lord's like, come on, can we
Yeah.
doing this again? Like,
Yeah.
how many times are we going to do this? You
Yeah.
know, I mean, he knows. And the scary thing is, guess what? He might actually tell somebody else your secrets, and they might come to you and tell them to you.
Yeah.
So be careful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love that, man, because I think, like, you actually were seeing the real people And I think that's amazing
Yeah.
that God's still giving you grace to like actually still, actually have a heart for people because,
Yeah.
I know.
my patience for people can be real thin at times. I have to ask the Lord, give me some patience for these people. Give me your heart for this person.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes you can get a little insight in who they are. It's like the natural response is, no, I'm not talking to that person.
Yeah. And I'm struggling with that right now, actually, with a group of women.
Yeah.
And, I was talking to this girl today, and she's like, Danii, like, I think the lesson here is for us to sit in it, which you've told me, but it's just different coming from another person in the same
sure.
group experiencing the same, thing I'm experiencing. And she's just like, I think we're there to just sit in it and to just get the patience because, we're not always going to come across people that are just going to be like pleasant and all that. And she's like, but that doesn't mean we turn our back on them. And I'm like,
Yeah, because then the Lord would have pulled you out.
literally. And, so it was a little slap, not a slap in the mic, but a slap on my face to be like, okay, let's step back and reevaluate and, go from there. So I think that God continuously speaks to me. I'm still praying for that mundane season that's going to come, and I know that it's coming. But right now, He's still very loud in my life, and I try to be very receptive to Him, and I try to just let Him use me in a way that He needs to use me, but also be smart and not to just put myself out there for everybody because not everyone has the right intent. And, I don't want somebody to ever take my story and then try to use it for something bad because it's a lot, right? And it's a lot that people can be like, these people, I don't know, whatever you want to call them, Christians. I hate that term. But, there's just, I don't ever want someone to look at me and try to use it for evil. So I just want to be cognizant, too, about who I'm sharing those intimate parts of myself with in a personal setting and, not just be like, oh, let me tell you my story so maybe God will reach you somehow, because I don't think that that's wise. So I just try to be really obedient. And, my friend who was texting me this morning, she just had a lot of wisdom for me in that, like, hey, we just have to meet them where they are. And that's my saying, like, let's just meet people where they're at. Even before I was saved, like, I don't know, I feel like people all act the way they do for a reason. And I just want to know why.
Yeah, exactly. You just got to sit in there with them. I think that's the beauty of it is you got to sit in there with it. You're never going to you got to put time in when it comes to getting to know people. And there's got to be enough time that as time passes by, there's an opportunity that comes up or something potentially happens in their life or maybe in your life and you open up to them. And it's like, then you can see their true colors and who they really are in those hard moments. And so, like, again, I go back to it, like the Lord sat in all our messes with us until He decided, hey, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna open up your eyes a little bit. And some people, it's been their whole life for them, but others have stories where it's like the Lord wakes them up, And so I keep saying always with you, Danii, I think the Lord is going to use you in ways that you've sat in rooms with people and talked about their deepest, darkest secrets. And some people right now are probably saying like, I don't know if we can trust her yet. And it's like, the Lord, like you felt that way towards the Lord. So it's like, well, then I'm going to go ahead and sit here because I know how the Lord has been with me. So I will be patient with you.
Woo!
In that sense.
I didn't know we were going to church.
I'm just saying. I think you have the ability to sit there with people, and eventually, I think the truth will come out, and the Lord will give you the wisdom to speak in their lives. Which is interesting because, as I was praying right before this, don't take this to offense, but
oh gosh, so I'm gonna be offended.
What is it?
I don't know if I've got this word for anybody, but I always pray and ask the Lord, give me a word for the person, and it was wise. Danii is wise, and I think I agree with that. So to certain, I mean, at first I was like, oh, that's an interesting word. Like, okay, just reveal that to me, Lord.
Gloria would be so proud.
No, but I think you have sat you've just seen so many sides of people that allows you to kind of move in a wise, controlled way. And I think that's gonna pay off for you in the long run, especially when it comes to being, whether you're an evangelist or whatever you are for the Lord. There's going to be wisdom in the pace at which you move and the things at which you share. And so, man, I as I got that word from the Lord, I was like, man, I'm really praying to that, because I think that's a word that you'll probably grow into as well.
Thank you.
So, and then also you said you're trustworthy.
What?
Yeah.
What?
You
my boy. You my boy.
No, I totally see that from you, though. I think you're the type of person that, like, when you like, yeah, I can support that. Like, you're gonna get behind people, and you're gonna support them.
No, I'm very much an all-in type of person. That's why when I was like bargaining with God, I was like, I knew once this happened, like I was gonna jump in with 2 feet, and I was just gonna be one of those things. And even like, so just going back to this, group that I'm in. I was just, as you're talking, I'm like, I think the Lord just revealed to me, like, Danii, this is that cynicism, I think, just trying to hang on just a little bit. And there's more to that. And so I think I need to just be a little bit more in prayer about, hey, like, let's bind this spirit up. Let's go ahead and I need to be cognizant and continuing to pray, because I feel like, Satan isn't happy that I've left his clan. I was his right-hand girl. Yeah. So I feel like, there is a lot of stuff. And, even leading up to this podcast, I have been really going through it the last week with my health and, my diet. I don't know, a week and a half ago, everything the little bit of things that I could eat have now been literally removed off of my menu. So I can't even eat eggs anymore. Like, I am eating rabbit food, a salad. I can't have tomato or cucumber or anything. It's like, I'm like, hi, can I order this salad and then remove everything healthy off of it, please? So it's, it's been really hard for me. And then that's kind of led into a little bit of a depression. And then my body's just kind of in a relapse right now, so I've just not felt my best. And I'm like, this morning I woke up and it hit me like, hey, this is spiritual warfare. Like, you're about to go do this, and, Satan's just trying to discourage you and attack you. And I'm like, ow, hey, like, so, I think that God sometimes just, he wants me to just depend on him, and not sometimes, all the time. And, I get so comfortable and I'm like moving through life, and then things happen and I forget that there's an enemy there and he's trying to take me down. And, as I get closer to my baptism, I have been praying like very consistently, like, just prepare my heart for this. And, I want to leave it all in the water and, reveal that unbelief. Like, ever since we talked, I have been like, Lord, tell me, because I want to enter that rest. I want to be there in it. Like, I want all these things. And I think movement has been the most wonderful stepping stone. Stepping stones, because I don't see this ending, anytime soon. And I think it's just going to grow for me into something amazing. Yeah. And, I was just talking to Casey the other day, and I'm like, thank you for this, what you've created here. And he's like, what we've created, we're all doing this. And I'm like, that's so wonderful that he's so humble too, to just know, like, it wasn't just me. Even though he had the vision and he got it created, he still, brings everyone into it. And I'm like, damn, this is a family, and somebody that's never had a family aside from like my own. But even then, like, I'm a single mom. So, it's nice to want to come home, You leave your home and you come home. Yeah. And I get to spend 8 hours at home with my family, and then I get to go home and spend the rest of my evening with my family. And it's just this big continuous loop of, like, I feel like God's like, hey, I got
He's
you.
He's like surrounded you.
It's amazing.
Which is, I hadn't really thought about the fact that, like, being a single mom is probably like super lonely. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that you have to figure out on your own.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And even just like thinking about holidays too, like there's just a lot. Mm-hmm. But he put you, and I love that you use the word yank too, by the way. I think that's like such a cool picture. But anyways, but then he dropped you into a community of people that were going to be able to like help you and hold your arms up when you feel at your weakest
Oh,
and you're most
1000%.
tired. And I've experienced that too, being at Movement, and it's just really beautiful to see and hear you talk about it, and encouraging, but also because you've stepped into it too, and you've embraced it, and you have been all in. Like from the moment I think that you started here, like that's something that I've seen in you is just like diving head first, and I think God's really honoring that in your life of just being brave. I think that's another thing that I've just really seen and heard from you is that you are really brave and courageous, going through what you've gone through, but then also being able to say, okay, God, like I trust you, like let's do this.
Yeah.
And it's just so freaking inspiring, honestly. Like amazing.
And she's getting baptized December 4th.
Yeah, so that's the other
in
thing.
the movement halls.
We're given baptism, giving baptism,
We're baptizing.
baptizing,
Dunking.
dunk. That's what
Yeah.
it is. He likes
Yeah.
to say dunk.
Yeah.
Well, drown, all the
I mean,
things.
well, maybe not
Drowning.
drown.
I'm just kidding.
Maybe not
Nah,
drown,
just
but
might hold you on a little longer. You know?
Make sure we're all, it's really all in the water.
but
Get
that's
all
like the
taken care
full
of.
circle, like
It is.
which is gonna be so beautiful. Like
I was
can't wait.
really excited to get baptized at my church because that was like the second piece that really God had put in my life. And and then when y'all texted me,
You can actually thank Jen for that.
I was when you made him text me.
Yeah.
I did. He didn't really want to. He was like, she's already getting baptized.
I was like, she's getting baptized on Sunday. Like, I don't want to ruin anything. Like, you know, she's like, just ask her.
Just ask her,
I was like,
because
all
I
right,
just
fine,
felt
I'll
like
ask her.
how special for you to be surrounded by like
Yeah,
your movement family that's been such a big part of
it is. Oh,
You
I was
know?
in my mentor group and I was like, you guys! And he's like, just think about it. I'm like, think about what? Duh. I was like,
I
obviously.
just
this
wanted
is
to
like,
be, you know. I didn't want to be
Obviously.
like, yeah, you get baptized here. Like, you know.
No, it is.
Church. It's
I
not a
am
big deal.
so
But the timing
pumped.
of it too is just
it's amazing.
So y'all come out and watch Danii get baptized.
yeah. December 4th,
Yeah.
5 p.m.
Oh,
5
yeah. I was at
p.m.
6 p.m.
Oh,
5 p.m.
5 p.m.
We got it locked in.
Everyone's invited.
It's gonna be a great time. God's gonna be there.
100%.
If you know,
Yeah.
don't miss out.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So, Danii, a question I like to ask everybody as we're wrapping things up is, what does a life well lived look like for you? If you're looking back, you're at the end of the line for Danii Peters, and you say, man, that was a life well lived. What does that look like?
I think a life well lived for me will just to continue on this track, and to know that I didn't let my past define my future, and I didn't let that bog me down. So I feel like as long as I can stay on this path and get to the end and know that I use all of this for His glory, and when I get there, He can say, you know, well done, good and faithful servant. To me, that will be a life well lived. Like, I want people to look back and be like, Danii Peters did not let anything hold her back. She shined so bright for Jesus, and God was able to use her. To me, that's the coolest thing that could possibly happen. So my name is Danii Peters. I'll write that down. And I'm just kidding.
Oh man.
No, but anyway.
That's
So yeah,
so
to me,
good.
that's what that looks like. So yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. That was
Love
fun.
it.
Well, we
Thank you.
even
for
though it's called
coming.
the deep end, I feel
Yeah.
like we only tapped into the surface
We
of Danii's
did.
story. But it's one of those things where if you want to know Danii, you need to get to know her yourself and sit down
Yeah.
with her and hang out.
I
And
love
so,
brunch and coffee.
Yeah.
Hey, coffee. I love coffee too.
So, well, thank you so much, everybody. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you have any questions, please email us at thedeependwithdaveandjen@gmail.com. We'll see you back soon for the next episode of The Deep End.